The modern world presents its trials, a difficult commute, a demanding day. But consider an awakening of a different order. The year is 40,000 BCE. You open your eyes not to an alarm, but to a cold that has teeth. It is 40 degrees below zero inside a drafty hut of mammoth bone and hide. The first assault is not on the skin, but on the senses. A primordial tapestry of smells fills the air, the musk of unwashed bodies, the acrid scent of rancid animal fat smeared on skin for insulation, the ever-present smoke from a struggling fire, and the sharp, unmistakable odor of human waste. The toilet is not a separate structure, it is a designated corner of this single shared space. To venture out into the glacial steppe is to risk a swift death from exposure. There are no trees to hide behind anyway. Your clothing, a patchwork of stiff animal skins, has not been removed for weeks. It is a living ecosystem, and its most prominent inhabitants are lice. This is no mere pest, it is an inheritance. Genetic analysis of their modern descendants tells a clear story. Some 70,000 years ago, our ancestors had a close and personal encounter with Neanderthals, and we received this parasitic gift, passed down through the millennia. You try to rise, and your body screams in protest. The memory of yesterday's hunt is written in every muscle. The bison that nearly trampled you has left its mark, a healing rib fracture from a week ago. There is no medicine here, no surgery, no sterile bandages. Your treatment was to be laid in a corner, fed spoonfuls of rendered fat for energy, and perhaps visited by the shaman, whose rhythmic drumming offered not a cure, but a connection to the spirits. This is not an exaggeration. The fossil record is a brutal ledger. On Neanderthal remains, 1 in every 2 skulls bears the mark of severe trauma. Broken cheekbones and poorly healed fractures are the norm. The anthropologist Eric Trinkhaus meticulously catalogued these injuries and found their pattern matched only one modern profession: the rodeo cowboy. Imagine a life where every day is the rodeo, but the bull is a bison, and the grand prize is merely another sunrise. It is time for the morning meal. In a corner lies the source of your strength, a piece of deer killed 5 days prior. The sharp tang of decay is undeniable, but there is no alternative. The next hunt may be successful, or it may not. Ethnographers studying modern hunter-gatherers confirm that meat verging on putrescence is a staple, consumed with gratitude. For variety, one might forage for earthworms, butterfly caterpillars, or the plump larvae of beetles. Protein is a currency without prejudice. On the shores of Lake Tanganyika, until recent times, people would catch clouds of insects in nets and press them into nutritious cakes. And to wash? The concept is an absurdity. Soap is an invention tens of thousands of years in the future. The closest one might come is a ritual smoke bath. The Inuit, masters of this frozen world, understood the power of fat. They coated themselves in it for warmth, for a healthy sheen, for beauty. But over time, this protective layer would sour and reek. To strip away the old, rancid coat, a powerful emulsifier is required. Nature provides one, readily available to all. Stale urine. These were not lesser lives, but lives lived at the very edge of the possible. An existence stripped of all illusion, reduced to the stark realities of pain, hunger, and the relentless, desperate will to endure. It serves as a chilling reminder of the crucible that forged us, a testament not to what humanity has gained, but to the unyielding core of what it has always been. The air is a thick, suffocating tapestry, so dense with the smoke of a low-burning fire and the press of human bodies that, as the explorer Robert Peary once wrote of such a dwelling, you could hang an axe in it. For the uninitiated, the atmosphere is an assault on the senses, a pungent blend of uncured hides, old grease, and the raw, unfiltered scent of life itself. This is not a home, but a temporary shield, a fragile dome of skins and bone thrown up against a world of ice, knowing that in a day, perhaps 2, it will be abandoned. The wind, a constant predator, finds every seam, a chilling reminder that nothing here is permanent. Within this cramped space, 15 souls are bound together. The old, their faces maps of past hardships. The young, whose cries are quickly muffled. Women, some heavy with the next generation, their bodies a testament to the relentless cycle of survival. Here, there are no private moments. All the functions of the organism, from birth to the slow decline of age, are witnessed by all. It is a crucible of absolute intimacy, forged by necessity. As the pale light of a frozen dawn filters through a gut-skin opening, the council gathers. The men, their faces etched with concern, weigh the grim mathematics of their existence. The last of the frozen meat will sustain them for perhaps 3 more days. But yesterday, on a desperate hunt, a scout saw a promise on the horizon. A herd of wild horses, a mirage of life in the vast emptiness. The distance is 50 kilometers. To us, a journey. To them, a standard measure of survival. We imagine a primal freedom in this ancient world, a life unbound by passports, borders, or laws. A technical truth that masks a deeper reality. This is not liberty, it is a relentless obligation. They are a people without a homeland, because the land itself is a shifting, unforgiving adversary. Their freedom is merely the freedom to walk or to die. They are compelled by the emptiness in their bellies to be in constant motion. A migration that has no destination, only a deferral of starvation. And it is not a simple walk, it is an ordeal. Day after day, a procession against the horizon, covering dozens of kilometers of frozen steppe. Every adult carries a burden. The men, the heavy flint spears and axes, their eyes scanning the horizon for both prey and predator. The women, their own packs of scraped hides and stone tools, with infants bound to their chests and toddlers too small to keep the pace carried on their backs. The chronically pregnant woman carries her load and her unborn child. There is no other choice. The cold is a physical enemy. At -40 degrees, exposed skin burns and blackens. The fat-rich diet offers some small defense, but the wind is merciless, a razor across the face. For 10 months of the year, during the long winter of the Ice Age, this is their world. The story of this endless march is etched not in stone, but in the very bones of their ancestors. Skeletal analysis reveals the profound stress on their bodies. The powerful muscle attachments, especially on the legs of both men and women, speak of a life spent in perpetual motion, a testament to journeys we can barely comprehend. Then a change in the vast monotony, a faint wisp of smoke miles ahead, a foreign fire. The heart quickens, not with hope, but with a primal cold dread. In this world, a stranger is not a potential friend, but a potential threat. It does not matter if they are Neanderthal or another clan of Cro-Magnon, or even distant kin forgotten generations ago. The calculation is brutal and instantaneous. If the distant figures resolve into men, bearded and carrying spears, the first law of this land is simple: throw your spear first. Hesitation is death. If they are women, the calculus shifts. They might be negotiated with, bartered for, or even taken, a prize to strengthen the clan. But an unknown male is an enemy by default. This is the stark reality of a world where every resource, every flint nodule, every frozen carcass, every sheltered cave is a point of lethal contention. It was this unforgiving social landscape, perhaps more than any hunting prowess, that shaped the human destiny. The Neanderthals were supreme hunters, perfectly adapted to their icy domain for millennia. But their eventual displacement may have been sealed in these very moments of encounter. The difference was not in the sharpness of the spear, but in the complex web of cooperation, in the ability to see a stranger and envision not just a threat, but the possibility of a larger, stronger tribe. The true frontier was never the ice, but the perilous, uncertain space that separated one small band of human beings from the next. On nearly every other skeleton, a shattered skull. This was not an age of peace, it was an age of replacement, a slow, brutal demographic shift written in bone. The Cro-Magnons were a weapon in themselves. The Neanderthals, scattered across the vast, cold expanse of Europe in clans of only a few thousand, were an island race being slowly submerged. They did not vanish in a single cataclysmic war, but dissolved through 1,000 unrecorded skirmishes and the quiet finality of assimilation. You approach the clearing. The scent of a foreign smoke hangs in the air. The other group sees you. Instantly the men's hands find their spears, their knuckles white on the fire-hardened wood. The air grows heavy with unspoken threat, a tension that could snap into bloodshed in a single heartbeat. But then a gesture. One of their elders, his face a mask of scars and experience, extends an open palm. He lowers his weapon, a language older than words. Your own chieftain mirrors the act, the point of his spear dipping to touch the earth. Negotiations begin. Their tongue is a cascade of unfamiliar sounds, but meaning is found in the universal language of signs. An exchange is proposed. You have what they need. Flint spearheads, napped with a skill that is the pride of your clan, their edges lethally sharp. They possess something you desire. Amber. It is a treasure from the coast, captured sunlight carried over 300 kilometers of unforgiving wilderness. The trade is made. 3 large pieces of amber, warm to the touch, are placed in your hands. Back at the camp, the women will drill them with bone awls, threading them onto sinew to be worn as necklaces. This is more than ornamentation. It is beauty. It is status. In their hands, 5 new points of flint, 5 new chances at life. Everyone is satisfied. You part in a fragile truce. But it could have been otherwise. A misunderstanding, a moment of fear, and this clearing would have become a graveyard. Half your group might have remained here forever, their stories ending in the dirt. Or worse, you could have become their sustenance. You reach the site of the new encampment. A dome of lashed poles and heavy skins rises from the earth, a fragile bastion against the wind. Now the fire. It is a task that consumes an hour. First, the search for wood, dry as bone. Then the patient friction, striking pyrite against flint until a single precious spark leaps into a bed of tinder. You nurse it, coax it, blowing gently until a first fragile wisp of smoke gives way to a blossoming of a flame. The smoke is a constant companion, a blinding, choking shroud that stings the eyes. Among the modern peoples who still live this way, respiratory diseases and cataracts are rampant. The smoke and the dust are a slow poison, the price of warmth. But the fire is life. Now for meat. The hunters take up their spears and melt into the tree line. You are with them. 5 kilometers from the camp, you saw the tracks, a herd of wild horses. You move along the trail in absolute silence. Every snapped twig is a betrayal, every dislodged stone a potential alarm. The wind is in your face, carrying your scent away from the prey. There they are, a herd of 20, grazing on a hillside, a river of muscle and bone. The plan is a brutal calculus of risk and reward. Encircle them, drive them towards the hidden cliff edge, or, if possible, cut one from the herd. A young one, not yet at its full speed. Spears are leveled. A silent signal passes between the hunters. Then a chorus of primal shouts shatters the silence. The herd explodes in panic. One, a young stallion, veers away, confused, and is instantly isolated. The circle of hunters closes around it. The animal rears, its eyes wide with terror, lunging first one way, then another, seeking an escape that does not exist. The spears fly. The first one finds its mark, biting deep into the stallion's flank. The animal stumbles, but rises, driven by sheer life force. Another spear, and another. Finally, the magnificent creature crashes to the ground, its legs folding beneath it, and does not get up. Success, but it has come at a cost. During the frenzied attack, one of the hunters was caught by a lashing hoof. A sickening crack of bone echoed even over the chaos. His ribs are broken. He is carried, half-conscious, back to the camp. He will lie in the hut for 2 weeks. Perhaps he will live. Perhaps the broken bones will pierce a lung, and he will not. Natural selection, in its most unforgiving form, is the only law here. The work is not over. The horse weighs 300 kilograms. It is impossible to haul the entire carcass. The butchering begins on the spot. The most precious parts are taken first: the liver, the heart, the tongue, the thick layers of life-giving fat. The rest will be retrieved tomorrow, or it will be left. The wolves will finish what you began. Nothing is ever truly wasted. The journey back is an ordeal. 5 kilometers with 20 kilograms of raw meat slung over your shoulders, the blood warm against your skin. This is normal. You are accustomed to the ache. The modern laborer, after his shift, returns home to a waiting wife and a plate of hot soup. You return to a cold, skin-walled shelter, light a flickering tallow lamp, and while you wait for the meat to cook, you gnaw on a 40-gram piece of dried root. This is the foundation of that distant future. a world built on the relentless, aching hardship of your own. A wave of gratitude washes over the camp. There is joy. The reason is singular, elemental. Meat. Tonight there will be a feast. Chunks of flesh, skewered on green wood, sizzle and spit over the open flames. The air, thick with the scent of wood smoke and roasting fat, is a perfume of prosperity. The liver, seared for only a moment, is devoured nearly raw, a delicacy of unparalleled richness. The precious fat is rendered down, a golden liquid drunk while still hot, a surge of pure energy to fortify the body against the coming cold. For a few fleeting hours, the gnawing anxiety of the hunt is forgotten. Stomachs are full. This is more than sustenance, it is a reprieve. This is happiness. Tomorrow, the endless struggle for survival will resume its relentless pace. But tonight is a celebration of life itself. Tonight they are sated. You sit by the fire, its light painting dancing shadows on the faces of your kin. An elder speaks, his voice a low rhythm against the crackle of the flames. These are not idle tales. This is the living library of the clan, the oral history of a people. He speaks of a Tomka who faced a mammoth alone and brought the beast down. He tells of a grandmother who met the spirit of the river, a being of mist and water who gifted her a stone that held the coolness of the current. The children listen, their mouths agape, their eyes wide in the firelight. This is their education. Knowledge is passed from one generation to the next, not in a classroom, but in the sacred circle of the hearth. And this knowledge is the fragile membrane between life and death. One must know which root nourishes and which one kills. One must know the precise moment a particular herb flowers, when its power is at its peak. One must understand the ancient migrations of the deer, where to find them in the green of summer and the deep snows of winter. How to read the story left in the mud by a passing animal. How to predict the coming storm by the shape and color of the clouds. How to strike a flint core with perfect force and angle to shear off a blade sharp enough to butcher a kill. How to scrape and treat a hide until it is supple enough to ward off the wind. These people were masters of their world, brilliant botanists and zoologists by necessity. They knew everything about everything that mattered, because those who learned by random chance did not live to teach. The one who tasted the pale, elegant mushroom died. The one who was tempted by the glossy, dark berries of the nightshade died. Their neighbors, their kin remembered. That is not to be eaten. This is how humanity's first great encyclopedia was written, in the silent testament of the dead. It was a brutal accumulation of wisdom. We have since lost so much of this knowledge. No one alive today knows the terror and triumph of hunting a mammoth, nor do we need to. The mammoths are gone. But we forget the cost of that original learning, the countless trials and fatal errors. Those who were trampled, gored, or poisoned were not failures. They were the first pioneers, their ghosts paving tea. The fire dwindles to embers. It is time to sleep. You crawl into the low, hide-covered shelter. The air inside is thick with the warmth of 15 human bodies and the last heat of the fire pit. It smells of smoke, unwashed skin, and damp earth. The smell of a stable, the smell of home. You lie down on a bearskin, rolling another into a pillow for your head. Beside you, your wife breathes softly. She is pregnant with your third child. The first was taken by a winter's chill before his life had truly begun. Your second, a boy of 4 years, sleeps soundly on your other side. The average life will span just 35 years. You are 28. You are no longer a young man. In 7 more years, if you survive, you will be an elder. The thought is distant, abstract. Your mind is on tomorrow. Snares must be set for hares in the low brush. The wooden shaft of your favorite spear has a crack that must be mended. More firewood must be gathered before the next snow. The list is endless, but exhaustion is a powerful tide, and it pulls you under. Your eyes close. You drift into sleep on the ancient sounds of the steppe. Somewhere in the vast darkness, a lone wolf howls at the moon. The wind whispers and sighs, rustling the hides of the shelter. You are warm. You are fed. You are alive. This is a primordial happiness, stripped of all complexity. You awaken. A new day begins. It will be the same as yesterday. And the day after tomorrow will be the same again. And the year after that, and the decade after that, until the end, an end that can arrive at any moment. From the fangs of a predator, from the point of a stranger's spear, from the slow agony of starvation, from a fever that burns the life from your body, from a simple tragic fall during a hunt. But you do not dwell on death. You think only of life, of what must be done today to survive, and tomorrow, and the day after, one foot in front of the other, one sunrise after another, and you do survive. Because you are human. You are intelligent, you are social, you are capable of cooperation, of sharing, of loving your kin, of protecting the weak. It is this spark, this unyielding human resilience forged in the crucible of the Ice Age, that will ensure your distant descendants, some 30,000 years from now, will learn to command the soil itself. And 40,000 years from now, they will learn to etch their stories, not merely in memory, but in stone. In 50 years, their descendants will reach for the stars. But that future is an unimaginable dream, a myth spun from a world that does not yet exist. For now, there is only the present moment. A world locked in ice, where the air itself freezes at -40 degrees. Home is a fragile shelter of hide and bone, porous to a wind that carries the scent of oblivion. It is a life lived in close company with lice, a constant itching reminder of the life that thrives even in filth. The morning meal is meat, scavenged and preserved by the cold, its taste a gamble between sustenance and sickness. And this is not a catastrophe. This is not an emergency. This is simply life, the ordinary existence of our primeval ancestors. Consider the figure who walks out into this frozen expanse. He has crossed hundreds of kilometers in a single week, a ghost in a landscape of white. He could be hunted not just by the great beasts of the Ice Age, but by his own kind, for whom a neighbor could be the next meal. Unwashed for months, his body is a map of hardship. At 30 years old, he is already an elder, his joints worn, his gaze ancient. Every sunrise is a victory against impossible odds. And he did win. His triumph is not recorded in stone, but in our very DNA. You are here because he survived, because he was intelligent enough, resilient enough, and perhaps lucky enough to pass the fire of his genes forward, through a chain 1,000 generations long. The lesson is not to embrace the squalor, to eat tainted flesh or live unwashed. The inheritance is far more profound. It is the will to endure, the optimism to face a frozen dawn, the instinct to protect one's kin, to aid the weak. For this is what truly set us apart, not sharper claws or stronger muscles, but the revolutionary ability to cooperate, to form a society. In the face of an indifferent universe, our connection to each other was everything. Their legacy is not the hardship they suffered, but the future they unknowingly forged. A future where the daily battle for survival has been won, leaving us with the far more complex challenge of deciding what it truly means to live.